thank you for the innovations, and we thank you for inroads made in improving access to justice. We thank you for the quality work that has been done. And Lord, where we fell short, we ask for your mercy. And we pray that we seek to better ourselves so that we can do better in the next financial year. We invite your presence at this launch. May you come and be with us. And may the work that we do year in and year out glorify your name. We pledge to move onwards and forwards and never backwards with your help. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We may be seated. My Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Justice, my Lord, the Principal Judge, my Lords, the Justices of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, my Lords, the Judges of the High Court, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, your worships, I'd like to welcome you this morning to this launch of the Judiciary Annual Performance Report. My Lord, I would like to straight away make a few recognitions of the people who are here before we go to the remarks. And my Lord, you will allow me to recognize the presence of the Honorable, the Principal Judge, Honorable Dr. Flavian Nzeja. My Lord, you are most welcome. My Lord, also allow me recognize the presence of justices of the Supreme Court. We have Honorable Justice Lilian Tibatemwa. My Lord, you are most welcome. We also have, my Lord, Honorable Mr. Justice Mike Chibita. You are most welcome, my Lord. And we equally have so far Honorable Lady Justice Monica Kalichira Mugenyi. My Lord, you are most welcome. My Lord, we also have Honorable Justices of the Court of Appeal. And my Lord, we have Honorable Justice Geoffrey Chiriabwire, who is also a member of the Judiciary Council. My Lord, you are most welcome. We also have Honorable Justice Irene Muriagonja Kakoza, and also a member of the Judiciary Council. My Lord, we have Mr. Samuel Herbert Nsoboga, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the African Center for Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims and a member of the Judiciary Council. You are most welcome. My Lord, we have Honorable Mr. Justice Oscar Chihika, the Justice of the Court of Appeal. My Lord, you are most welcome. And in the High Court, my Lord, we have Honorable Mr. Justice Emmanuel Baguma. My Lord, you are most welcome. Deputy Head, the Civil Division. My Lord, we also have Honorable Mr. Justice Michael Elubu, the Head Criminal Division. My Lord, you are welcome. We have also Mr. Justice Stephen Mubiru, the Head Commercial Division. My Lord, he has just stepped out. We also have Honorable Mr. Justice Seka Namusa, the Head Civil Division. We have Honorable Lady Justice Susan Okalanyi, Deputy Head ICD. We also have Honorable Lady Justice Jane Okuo from the SCD. My Lord, you are most welcome. We have Honorable Lady Justice Syria Nagawa. My Lord, you are most welcome. We have, my Lord, Mr. Ibiri Bonuoha Patrick, the Deputy Solicitor General. Most welcome, representing the Honorable Attorney General. We also have Mr. Martin Mwambusha, the Deputy, the Director of Civil Litigation at the Ministry of Justice. We have several other members of the senior management of the Judiciary. I will request senior management, please stand up for recognition. Members of the senior management. Judiciary senior management, please stand up for recognition. You don't know yourselves. You are in doubt. Okay. My Lord, that is senior management, headed by none other than Dr. Pius Vigilmana. Dr. Pius Vigilmana, you're most welcome to this occasion. And we have the Chief Registrar with us and the team. We have, my Lord, heads of Administration of Justice Program institutions, and we have Commissioner of Prison Correction Services, Mr. Jacob Chivumbi, representing the Commissioner General of Prisons. You're most welcome. We also have the representative of the Director Law Development Center, Madam Lydia Namuli, the manager, LDC Legal Aid Clinic. With us we have Honorable Ambassador Lydia Wanyoto Otende, representing the chairperson of the National Planning Authority. You are most welcome. We have Mr. Isaac Singura, representing the Secretary Law Council. You are most welcome. We have got Sarah Birungi, Director Legal Affairs, representing the Inspector General of Government. We also have Harriet N.P. Kasirie from the Insurance Appeals Tribunal. You are here, okay. We have Madame Luce Ladira, Technical Advisor, Criminal Justice, Governance and Security Program. You're most welcome. We have apologies from the resident representative, UNDP Uganda, that has sent Madame Annette Mpabulungi, who is here with us, and Martha Agawa to represent her. From the UNICEF, we have Mr. Agustin Wasago, representing the country representative. You're most welcome. And we have Madame Barbara Clay, the country director, IDLO. You are most welcome. My Lord, we shall be returning with more recognitions as we receive them. We have Mr. Asimwe Anthony. Mr. Asimwe Anthony, Vice President of the Uganda Law Society, representing the President, Uganda Law Society. You are most welcome. Mr. Simwe, I can see you have caused a bit of that shows how we love ULS. And you are most welcome. My Lord, at this moment, allow me to invite the Honorable Chief Registrar to make her remarks. My Lord, you're welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship, the PRO. My Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, my Lord, the Honorable the Principal Judge, allow me stand on the protocol that has been laid out by the PRO. My role this morning is simple, my Lord Chief Justice. It is to welcome all of us who are here, both present physically and the virtual audience, to this launch of the annual performance report for the financial year 2023 and 2024. My Lord Chief Justice, since the enactment of the Administration of the Judiciary Act in 2020, the Judiciary has each and every passing year launched its annual performance report, and this is our fourth report since the year 2020. My Lord Chief Justice, what is special about this report today is the venue that we are launching it at. For those who have been attending for the past 4 years, we were either in a tent somewhere outside, or we squeezed ourselves in Court Hall 1 in the High Court building. But today we are witnessing and enjoying what we have always called part of that new judiciary, being in our very own conference hall at the Supreme Court Towers. I think this is something that is worth to celebrate and to make all of us happy with what is happening in the judiciary. My Lord Chief Justice, this program is expected not to be a very long one. So we are hoping that we will have our participants be here with us half a day and be able to return to serve the people of this country in their different dockets. And after which, before which, my Lord, as usual, as has been the culture you have introduced, they'll be able to enjoy lunch. So, my Lord, I'm not going to touch anything about the report. That is the Honorable the Chief Justice is going to give us the highlights of the report, whose copies have been availed to you, and then you will be moving the journey of how we went through the last year together with us. My Lord Chief Justice, I bring an apology that I have just received right now. We are not having the minister, and so we will be going straight into hearing the presentation of this report. So, my lords and all the honorable participants who have graced this occasion, I welcome you once again, and I wish you very fruitful listening of the report. My Lord Chief Justice, with that, I return the microphone to the PRO for 1 minute as we prepare to have you, my Lord, present the highlights of this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Registrar, for those remarks. And at this moment, my Lord, I would like to invite the Honorable Principal Judge to invite you, my Lord. Yes, my Lord.
My Lord, the Honorable the Chief Justice, my lords, in your respective hierarchies, our invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, my job here is simple, to invite the Chief Justice to address you, but maybe before that, I wish to thank the Chief Registrar and her team for compiling this report. It is stating in some of the respects where we have not performed well. It just opens our eyes that here there are pitfalls which we need to jump. Yeah, so my Lord, that's as far as I can remark, and may I invite you to come and address your people. Thank you.
My Lord, Honorable Principal Judge, the chairpersons of constitutional commissions here, members of the Judiciary Council, the Secretary to the Judiciary, the Chief Registrar, our development partners, more especially the country representative of IDLO, the representative of the Learned Attorney General, the representative of the Inspector General of Governments, the registrars and magistrates of our courts of judicature, the respective heads of departments in the judiciary, the representative of the President, Uganda Law Society, and distinguished members of the professional bar, participants attending online, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor to welcome all of you to this launch of the Judiciary Annual Performance Report for the financial year 2023/2024, which ended at the end of June this calendar year. I believe you all know that under Section 39, subsection 1 of the Administration of the Judiciary Act 2020, it's gained notoriety as the AJA. The Chief Justice is required to publish an annual performance report covering all activities of the judiciary during the financial year immediately preceding. In fulfillment of this requirement, it is my duty to present to you now highlights of the state of the judiciary in Uganda for the financial year 2023-2024. The report, which I believe you've been availed, which is in a book which looks like this, if you include the Roman paging, runs into 167 pages. I am not contemplating going through this book because it will take the whole day. I'm not sure you are here for the whole day. I'll just give the highlights. You'll take your time to internalize and make meaning of what is contained in this book. But let me say, in the exercise of our obligation to avail the Ugandan justice seekers, the Ugandan taxpayer, the Ugandan populace, an account of what transpired in the judiciary in the immediately preceding financial year, we've been blunt, we've hidden nothing, we have even indulged in self-deprecation. We've done this because we owe it to the people of this country in whom judicial power is vested. We are mere delegates exercising power which is primarily vested in the people of this country, people of and in this country, and we do so in the knowledge that we are exercising delegated power. So it is incumbent on us, which we are now doing, to explain to the people of this country what we've done with the taxpayers' money that we were availed in the financial year under discussion. I would urge every one of us, please, this judiciary belongs to all of us. It does not belong to the Chief Justice. It does not belong to the other judicial officers, does not belong to Deputy Chief Justice, Principal Judge, my learned brothers and sisters in the Supreme Court, some of whom are here, Court of Appeal, Constitutional Court, High Court, and the magisterial bench. We are servants of the people. We are your servants. So we have a duty to you, and that's why we lay bare what has transpired, what we did with the taxpayers' money, or what we did, whether the taxpayer is Ugandan taxpayer or taxpayers outside this country who have sent their funds through our development partners. We owe you a duty to explain how we have utilized these funds. And the format we've adopted for this aligns with the Judiciary Strategic Plan 5, which has been running from the financial year 2020/21 and will end this financial year we've started, 2024-2025. So it is in response to and is aligned to that strategic plans. When I took office as Chief Justice in 2020, the judiciary budget was 198, and this had now become a permanent feature. For a long time, it was hovering between 198, 199. If we were lucky, they would add 1 billion more, which was occasional. Since then, for the year under review, the judiciary budget had risen to 392 billion point 546. That was a huge increment given what the experience was, out of which 363.347 billion was released, and out of this 104 billion was spent. You'll ask, as you are entitled to do, why didn't you spend all of it? This absorption of 96.6% rate, of course, is below, short of the 100%. We can explain the 3.4% which was not utilized was because it comprised in the wage budget of Uganda shillings 9.634 billion. And this is because the recruitment for the staff, that the non-wage, part of the non-wage, so the staff that was supposed to be done was not done, and then there was a non-wage budget of 2.504 billion, which all this we suffered this because of the non-recruitment of the staff we had thought we would do. We want to register our appreciation, our profuse appreciation to our development partners for the huge support you've rendered the people of Uganda through the Judiciary of Uganda. We received support from development partners, and this greatly contributed to the realization of our objectives. These were the World Bank, European Union, UNFPA, UNODC, UNDP, Children at Risk Action Network, Uganda Communications Commission, Commonwealth Secretariat, and Kenya Judiciary Academy, and more importantly, because the one I'm just about to name has really consistently been with the Judiciary of Uganda. That's International Development Law Organization, IDLO, who is represented here by my sister, Barbara delay. The judiciary of Uganda is eternally grateful for your continued support to the justice service delivery in this country. We also made contribution to the revenue collection by gathering 17,177,000,000, out of which 10.6 was non-tax revenue. This was remitted to the consolidated fund. And the balance of 6.5 billion was bail deposits. This is money which is temporarily held pending the conclusion of a trial. Whichever way, either a dismissal of the case, a conviction, or an acquittal, the person was paid money for purposes of bail is refunded that money. So we collected 6.5 billion. Now I would like the people of this country to know, but for the financial year under review, the one for which we are giving accountability, this was the force, the judicial force we had in the judiciary of Uganda. We had 16 magistrate grade 2. We had 369 magistrate grade 1. This is the grade 1 as entry point, or if I'm permitted, the ordinary grade 1, then the senior grade 1, then the principal grade 1, and then the senior principal. These together comprise the 369 judicial officers. Then we had 90 chief magistrates. Then we had 1 chief registrar, registrars, deputy registrars, assistant registrars, totaling 79 of them. And then we had 78 judges of the High Court, 13 justices of Court of Appeal, 10 justices of the Supreme Court. These are the judicial officers who have been serving a population of some 45 million Ugandans, total of 655 judicial officers. So whatever performance you will read in this report, I'll just point out a few. This is the work which is shouldered by a total of 655 judicial officers. So you can work out, if you are not as poor as have been in mathematics, what the ratio of judicial officers in this country is to justice seekers. 45 against 655. You can work out that, and then when you're internalizing, you like to criticize us, which is allowed. You criticize us, you point out to us where we could have done better. The beginning point, in my very humble opinion, is that the people of Uganda are being served by 655 judicial officers for a caseloads which are in hundreds of thousands, for a population that are now 45 million. So at the time it was anywhere between 40 and 45 million. And this also explains, one should understand, the meager number of judicial officers, more than anything else, explains case backlog, delays in everything. And it explains why just a few years ago, about 5 or so, it was established that of the justice seekers in this country, only 5% came to the court of law. Now we are told this has been enhanced to 10% of justice seekers in this country who come to the court of law. Part of the reason is They'll come to the court of law and wait 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. And as head of the judiciary, I should point out, judicial officers are some of the most hardworking people in this country. I speak on this with utmost authority. I've said this and I'm going to repeat it, and I think I'll repeat it at every opportune moment. If you make a journey in Kampala here, go to Nakawa, go to Nabweru, just make surprise visits, come to this building on a Saturday, you'll find some judges glued to their cases on a Saturday when other people are doing whatsoever. So I'll say this in defense of judicial officers. They do their very best, but they're overwhelmed by the demands for justice. True, a couple of judicial officers may be found to be wanting in this regard, but there's a rule against using exceptions to justify a case. Those are exceptions to the general pattern where judicial officers really put their very best, their soul, their body, their spirit, to ensure that the little that we give is given to justice seekers in this country. So, case management. We completed 431 cases out of a total caseload of 401,269. There was a caseload of 143,205, which had been brought forward from the previous financial year, which was added to 258, which was registered in the financial year under consideration. So in all, in the financial year under consideration, we registered a 59.67, roughly 60% case disposal. I think we have every reason to congratulate ourselves with a little bit of clapping for because 60% is not small. If you look back, we were way down. Of course, there are many things that have facilitated this. Enhanced numbers of judicial officers, innovative approaches to justice delivery, technology, and so on and so forth. While we congratulate ourselves, we know we are not yet there. But I use this occasion to ask the people of this country to demand. It is not for us to demand. We can put the case, but the people of this country must demand. The justice seekers in this country must demand for greater funding of the judiciary of Uganda. Because this case backlog monster in the room can be tackled. My brother, the Chief Justice of Namibia, was laughing at me. I hosted him with his colleagues here in Munyonyo only last week. He was laughing at me. Namibia has got a population of 3 million people. He has 35 High Court judges for 3 million people, 35. You work out the ratio I've given you for the case of Uganda and work out the ratio they have for Namibia. And then he has a number, I've written it down somewhere, for the Court of Appeal. So what does Namibia do? Because of the reasonable, of the pleasurable ratio of judicial officers to the population, In Namibia, case backlog begins from 6 months, not 2 years as we do here. So the answer is first and foremost numbers, just numbers. Just numbers. If I had all the 150 High Court judges Parliament has given us, and I had even just 25 Court of Appeal justices, and then downwards sufficient magisterial judicial officers, I do believe that the Chief Justice would be able to tell all judicial officers, if a case has taken more than 365 days, 366 days in your court, you must write to the Chief Justice, copy it to the DCJ, copy it to the principal judge, why a case has stayed in your court 1 day more than 1 calendar year. It is possible. The example is there in Namibia. You must write to the Chief Justice why a case has taken 6 months and 1 day, just 1 day after 6 months. You must really persuade the Chief Justice. It can be done in this country, and then our annual report would be totally different. We would not be dwelling on case backlog. We would not be dwelling on the value of the justice we are rendering. Now here we are fighting about statistics, 59%, we clap. We're not able to go down and say what type of justice is being rendered. I think our people deserve both the literal presence of judicial officers and true access to justice, not the physical access, the functional, where you know that you go and your matter is resolved in 3 months. You are not happy with the decision because it is against you, but if you're able to read, you read and say, okay, this magistrate or this judge was mistaken, but I can see that he or she put their hearts into this matter. We would change our annual report, the ritual which the law places on our head to perform every year. So that is the beginning point. So you will find in this book breakdown of cases, court by court. And as I said, we are brutal about this. We've skinned ourselves. We have not hidden anything. We have also realized that for the financial year under consideration, performance across different court levels peaked in the financial year 2022-2023 at 294, but in the 2023-2024, which is the one under review, it declined to 258. Similarly, completed cases followed this trend, rising to 266,323 in financial year 2022/23, and then dropped to 239,431 in the financial year under consideration. Our finding is that the slight decline in case registration and case disposal was attributed to the mismatch in expansion of the judiciary vis-a-vis the other actors in the administration of justice. This includes limited number of state attorneys. I had to forfeit what would have been part of my judiciary budget and literally hand it over to the Directorate of Public Prosecution so that they could recruit more prosecutors. because otherwise we recruit judicial officers who can only handle civil cases in the main, and the criminal justice sector suffers. So we had to do this to be able to bring these actors to support the justice delivery. The courts closed with a pending caseload of 168,838. That is end of June this calendar year, which was the end of the financial year under consideration. 42,588 were backlog, which accounted for 26.32% of the cases. Case backlog declined by 0.87, by 372 cases, from 27.48 in financial year 2022-23. This is not significant. It's not anything to use the term you like using, anything to write home about. The reduction in case backlog is attributed to the following initiatives carried out by the judiciary. Plea bargain. I think the innovation, the intervention that has impacted in the justice delivery more than any other is plea bargain. The number of cases disposed of through this initiative increased by 22%. It was 5,246 cases in financial year 2022-23. It increased to 6,408 cases in the financial year under consideration, that is 2023/24. This initiative has helped in releasing fast disposal of cases and prisons congestion, among others. Now we are able to say there are more convicts than remandees in the prisons of Uganda. More than anything else, plea bargain has contributed to this. Because once the prisons are full of remandees, you have to keep them within an area where they can access court. They cannot contribute to the economy of this country. It is a consuming body. And once there is conviction, if there is an acquittal, you release the person who goes and contributes to the economy. If it is a conviction, similarly, the person is taken to a prison institution where they engage in economic activity to the benefit. They learn how to live in society, and then they also contribute to the economy of this country. So now we are able to speak of convicts surpassing the remand prisoners. This is a good thing, and as I said, plea bargaining has made a huge contribution to this. The small claims procedure, which is now being rolled up to 203 courts across the country. The growing number of cases registered in these courts reflects a largely user-friendly and demand-driven initiative. A total of number of 23,568 cases were completed through the small claims procedure and recovering 17,993,000,000, that is 18 billion shillings, which were freely used in the economy. Then ADR. Let me say this. Probably the greatest innovation, the greatest intervention in the justice process in this country, the game changer in the justice delivery process in this country will be alternative dispute resolution. When it has rooted itself, when it has gained popularity, when our people and all the stakeholders understand the importance of ADR, you'll be surprised what will become of that elephant in the room called case backlog. So I've already talked of the pre-bargaining. That is an ADR in the criminal justice system. We are promoting ADR beyond the criminal justice process in the civil. And the beauty with ADR is that it resonates with our people's understanding of how justice is rendered. And that explains why at one time only 5% of justice seekers came to courts of law, and now only 10% reach the court of law, with a breakdown which how many of those who come to court of law get justice immediately or get satisfactory justice. That can be broken down if you read the reports. How come there is no madness in our society? How come people are not cutting themselves with machetes? I mean, there's no bloodletting, despite all these disputes you have, including capital offenses. How come? I mean, we're not demigods, we're not angels, we're only human. How come the courts can only do little, can only do 5%, can only do 10%, and even then not so satisfactorily? How come there is order? That's the main question. And once you understand this, then you understand the importance of alternative dispute resolution. It is because our population have fortunately not abandoned the African mode of rendering justice, of ensuring that there is harmony, there is peace, there's resolution of disputes in the countryside. And this is informal. They do it the way they know best. When I was at law school, for those of you who do not know, I come from a tribe called Acholi, part of the Greater Luo Nation. So you will not find Uganda against Owen in East African Law Report, Uganda against Okello. You'll find all other names. I don't want to name, but you'll hardly find. Now the question is, how come you don't find this name in armed robbery, in murder, in rape, in defilement? Defilement was not so prominent. I think it fell under rape. In all those other things. It was and has been because of our traditional system of dispute resolution. What has gained notoriety, as Mato put, you take life, society sits down and get meaningful justice, get meaningful atonement immediately. Not this one of the man remaining on remand for 5 years. At the time of the trial, the witnesses are not there. The man is released, and there is so much acrimony in the community. The justice would be swift. Mediators would come in. Conciliators would come in. And if need, arbitration is done. Within that system, the same persons who intervene can carry out all these three, actually four: negotiations, mediation, conciliation, and if need be, once in a long while, you even come to the point of arbitration by the elders. And there is atonement, order is restored in society. With time, even reconciliation is achieved. So when the matter comes up for hearing, there are no witnesses because the matter has been resolved. So Anowin commits murder and the matter does not come, so you don't find Anowin in the East African Law Report. Not that people, they were not killing themselves, they were. But they were applying better justice than this adversarial justice of ours, this one which has been imposed on us. This one which is now forcing us to call ours the original justice delivery process as alternative dispute. That's why I'm always up in arms when you refer to our justice system as alternative. It is indeed the original dispute resolution process. The one you were taught at school, you and I were taught at school, those rules of evidence, circumstantial evidence, when it is applicable, and so on and so forth. For us, and it is even saying, if you find a steaming dung, dog dung, steaming, and there's a dog standing next to it, you don't go to do, what is the other thing they test? You don't find out the DNA of the dung if it is from the dog. You hold it responsible because there's no other footprint around. So you must be responsible. And it is quick. So the purpose of ADR, and I'm now insisting we don't call it alternative dispute resolution, but African dispute resolution, so that we keep the initials ADR, is that the purpose is to formalize what is largely informal with our people. Give it guidance, let our people know that not everything that they are doing in that justice system accords with the Constitution or the Judicature Act with regard to repugnancy and what is acceptable or of good conscience to a democratic society. So our purpose will be now to guide this informal sector and make it formal. Then you will be surprised how many criminal cases are concluded in court, how many civil disputes, how many land disputes are concluded in court. You'll be very surprised. We will not be crying for 1,000 judges. We'll now be crying for people who are trained in dispute resolution that brings harmony. That's the purpose of alternative dispute resolution. We held an African Chief Justice Summit on ADR here in Kampala, 4th to 5th March this calendar year. And then from the 5th to 9th August 2024, the Judiciary held an ADR week during which the courts dedicated time to educate the court users and encourage them to consider alternative modes of settling disputes. The ADR week culminated into a magical, this was magical really. I mean, miracles still happen. We don't realize they are miracles, but they still happen. So in 1 week, there was complete resolution of 237 cases. 1 week. Including in the appellate court, in the Court of Appeal. People who've really got their judgment should be executing. Somebody is entitled to 500 million. Then you say, no, what? We can dispose of this appeal. I accept, instead of waiting, this appeal, somebody appeals again, instead of waiting for 7 years in the appellate courts alone, if you can pay me 400 million in 6 months, I forfeit my right to execute for that additional 100 million. So you pay me, I walk home. Then the other person also does arithmetic and say, okay, I'll look for the 400 in the 8 months or whatever it is you've given me. We pay. The matter is settled. You can only achieve this through speaking to one another, through ADR. You've not in any way overturned the trial court's decision. No. The decree holder has forfeited. Or can even say, look, you pay me my 500 million, instead of immediately, I give you 12 months. and you'll pay by these installments. Yeah, that's the variation of the mode or the time of payment. People who could not drink from the same water source will go back, and the first point of call is a malwa joint on the way. They will now go and share malwa from the same pot before they reach home. That's the beauty of alternative dispute resolution. You break the ice. You restore humanity. People become humane and human at the same time. So we are going to pursue this. We're making it a robust part of justice delivery in this country, because we have every faith that it is the way to go. It is a game changer, and the people of this country will appreciate and understand how important this is. Now, in the financial year under consideration, we enacted a number of laws, gazetted them, and they are now operational for the strengthening of the regulatory framework that would ensure that the Judiciary of Uganda renders justice to our people. The first one was the Judicature Amendment Act 2024. Parliament enhanced the number of justices of the Court of Appeal from 15 to 35. And we are in the process of recruiting out of this enhancement an additional 5 justices of the Court of Appeal to, I think, 7, so that we go to 15 and then add 5, which would make a difference, because we have expanded the base of the pyramid. It is only proper that the next level should not be the tip. The next level should be still expanded, an expansive level. So when you have 90 High Court judges and a number of magistrates' courts, you need a strong Court of Appeal. And I should tell the people of Uganda why you need to fight for funding to the judiciary. Ideally, in my understanding, the most important court is actually the Court of Appeal. If you have a strong Court of Appeal, a court where judicial officers don't have judgments on their table from the table up to the ceiling and begin panicking, I must finish this, and somebody is shouting, how many cases have you delivered? How many judgments have you delivered? How many cases have you disposed of? Thereby turning the courts of law into a court of statistics. If the judicial officers can have a reasonable number of files to them, and when a matter comes out, they have all the time to sit down, ponder, reason with themselves, as we always do when we're writing judgments. Very few cases, if any, should go beyond the Court of Appeal. For me, I always say the Court of Appeal should be the court for jurisprudence, court where you conclude everything. But we can only do that when the court is not inundated with cases, is not overwhelmed. You can only do this when the judicial officers receive appropriate, reasonable number of cases, and they really sit down so that when they write a judgment, it covers, and you don't now get conflicting judgments, or somebody is saying, no, I'm not satisfied with this, and everything else goes to the Court of Appeal. So hopefully we'll make the 35 appellate Court of Appeal justices mark. It will be very good for our country. Then we issued the administration of the Judiciary Inspectorate of Court Regulations. The Chief Justice did this. This establishes the Inspectorate of Courts unless we have a robust inspectorate, and this is what we have tried to do, we can have courts up to the village, we can have a magistrate in every village, but people will still cry that they are not getting justice, they are not accessing justice. So literally, maybe figuratively, you need a situation where every judicial officer, including the Chief Justice, has somebody breathing on their neck in the performance of their judicial work. You feel somebody's breathing on your neck. This can be an inspector, this can be peers, can be anything, colleagues. If we build this culture, then you can have both the hardware and the more important, the software, where judicial officers know if you don't play by the books, the sun will not set before this is found out and you're held to account. So we have this body that's been rejuvenated, it's been bolstered, and I was clear in my mind when I was appointing the chief inspector. I looked for, and I was fortunate to get somebody who rose from being a grade 1 magistrate to the highest level of the judiciary, the Supreme Court, who would understand the problems confronted by judicial officers at every level. So I have faith that they will deliver, and the beneficiaries are you and me as justice seekers. There were 922 complaints which were registered in the year under consideration. 922. Out of these, 900 complaints were investigated. I hope this makes sense. Either two, you would find 10 cases registered and 3 years they have not been investigated. Now, because of a strong inspectorate, 922 and 900 have been investigated to completion. 22 are still remaining undergoing investigation. And that's what I mean by ensuring our people get real justice. Our people access justice. Not this beautiful building where we are now hosted. This building can be made of gold. This is hardware. This is hardware. The building, this beautiful building we are proud of. This is just hardware. We could actually sit in a grass-thatched house and render better justice than if we sit here. Meaning, it is not this building that should be considered as a court building. Indeed, when a judicial officer enters court, that's when you say, now court. There is now court. Before the judicial officer enters, it is a court building, a court hall, or whatever it is. So we must emphasize discipline, ethical standard. We must maintain all this. And that's the purpose of these regulations on inspectorate. Then we've provided several committees for the management of the judiciary. All aspects of life, of activities in the judiciary. So we have the administration of the judiciary, establishment of committees regulation of 2023. Then the judicature designation of High Court circuits instrument of 2023. We have enhanced the number of circuits to 38 High Court. The purpose is to ensure that our people have physical access to a court of law, to the High Court. I always give the example of my village. My village is 160 kilometers to the then nearest High Court, which was Gulu. 160 kilometers. So if you have a peasant whose pocket is empty, and then you have the Chief Justice of Uganda, part of whose pocket has something, and they're disputing over land, even if the judicial officer in Gulu is not going to be intimidated by the fact that the litigant or the defendant is the Chief Justice, the likelihood that the Chief Justice will win the case is over 90%. This peasant, who in truth is the right person, is the true owner of the land, will finish everything in the 5 years that the case takes in court, will finish everything that they have, and then when the case eventually takes off, they're not able to appear. Or if they're able to appear without witnesses. And you win cases through witnesses. The Chief Justice is able to 3 vehicles and is taking all the lying witnesses from the same village, people whose pockets he has lined up with some benefit. The fellows come, somebody is 80 years, comes and speaks to the magistrate or the judge without blinking. So what should the judge do? Pass judgment for the rich fellow. So in the end, justice for the rich person or the better off person. So our purpose of creating this 38 is that even on a bicycle, a litigant should be able to reach the High Court. With the other lower courts, of course, I've explained, you know, walking distance. If you start at cock crow, the first cock crow, by 8 o'clock you should be where the magistrate is. This is our intention. So these 38 circuits are located such that if they are all operational, then let this Chief Justice now come with these lying witnesses. The truthful witness will come and confront these liars. And actually, when these liars see the truthful witnesses, they may even withdraw. That is what true justice would be. That's what you would call true access to justice. Then the magistrates' court, magistrate areas of 2024, I've talked about this several times. Grade 1 at the constituency level, and constituencies were county. Now certain counties have, like my district was a county, it has got now 3 constituencies. Each one of those is entitled to a magistrate grade 1, and then a chief magistrate. Recruitments. To bridge the staffing gaps and improve service delivery, the Judiciary received a total of 288 personnel into its service, including new staff and those appointed on promotion. The Supreme Court got 2 new justices, whom I congratulate, Honorable Lady Justice Catherine Bamugemerere and Honorable Lady Justice Moniga Mugenyi, who got their baptism of fire a long time ago. They hit the ground running and they're performing exceedingly well in the Supreme Court. The Court of Appeal also received 3 justices, namely Lady Justice Margaret Tibulia, Honorable Justice Kaziwe Moses Kaumi, and Honorable Justice Dr. Asa Mugenyi. These have also embroiled themselves into the task for which they chose to serve this country. The government of Uganda ensured that funds were available and we were able to construct the Twin Towers, one of which we are here now. This is the Supreme Court building. The other one on the other side is the Court of Appeal building. This was entirely from the Ugandan taxpayers' money. Entirely. And one of the things I've always prided myself on, I don't know of any project in this country. They may be there, but I am confessing that I do not know of any project in this country where the government made savings On the original plan, instead of, there's a term they use in construction, where you vary, variation, I think, you vary the bales of quantities. By the time the last variation comes, you cannot recognize it from the previous one, the beginning one. These twin buildings, twin structures, beautiful as they are, were constructed with the savings of 12 billion Uganda shillings. I should remember to ask the Minister of Finance to give me back that money so that I can use it on other. And it is a good thing. You know, if the judiciary of Uganda can be embroiled in scandal, it is a terrible thing about money. You know, how do we convict everybody who's brought before us against whom there is evidence? And then they say, but those fellows, even the Chief Justice, for them, they will not know what role the chief said. That one there, he ate 12 billion shillings. They will say that I ate money because they don't know what role I played. So on this, I want to thank my PS who had the daily responsibility to, because I was prepared to see some people go to jail if there was if any nails had grown long on these two projects, people would have gone to jail. But I really want to thank my PS for ensuring that nobody did anything untoward. 90% of the work on Adjumani Justice Center is completed, 90%. Lianton, the Chief Magistrate's Court, 70% to completion. Budaka Chief Magistrate's Court, 95% to completion. Tororo High Court was at first floor slab shattering. These are things I don't understand, so don't ask me what is shattering. Shattering stage with up to 30% progress. Aleptong Chief Magistrate's Court was at finishing stage, 60% to completion. Namayingo Justice Center was completed and was under defects liability period. In other words, the waiting to see for a certain period if it will stand the test of time. Nuoya Justice Center was completed, also under the defects liability period. Buyende Justice Center was completed. Karenga Magistrates Court was at finishing stage, 90% to completion. Abim Magistrates Court at roofing stage, 40% to completion. Soroti High Court was at plastering stage with up to 60% to completion. Rukungiri High Court was at external works stage with up to 85% to completion. Now, renovation and maintenance of court premises. And this is an area, you know, I think it was President Museveni who once said, the word maintenance seems not to be there in the African language. I don't know if your language, try to think of it. You may have a word for repair, but what is the word for maintenance in your language? Over a cup of tea, you will tell me if you do. So that's where our weakest point, and many times I think we do not give sufficient budgetary provision. Because we don't see the danger, we always respond to a crack, we respond to a damaged structure. And yet, if we maintain these structures, they live longer, in the end you spend less in keeping them. So we did the following renovations and repairs, not maintenance, renovations and repairs. Mbale High Court and Chief Magistrate's Court, Kapchorwa Chief Magistrate's Court, Ngora Chief Magistrate's Court, Entebbe Chief Magistrate's Court, Palisa Chief Magistrate's Court, Hoima Chief Magistrate's Court, Kumi Chief Magistrate's Court, Nabuero Chief Magistrate's Court, Chiboga Chief Magistrate's Court. My friend, Mr. P.S., you think the people of Yumbe, their buildings don't require repair, what? Or maybe they were well built and they have not yet gone into the defect thing. Then we have rolled out ECMIS, then the court user training for rollout of the electronic court case management and information system, acronymed into ECMIS. This was conducted for the additional 18 court stations, which will be enrolled onto ECMIS system this financial year. These courts are High Court Criminal Division, Family Division, International Crimes Division, and Jinja High Court Circuit. Chief Magistrates Courts, Buganda Road, Standards, Utilities and Wildlife, Makindye, Nakawa, Luwero, Jinja, Entebbe, Naguero, and Kira. Magistrates Grade 1, Rubaga, Bugembe. I don't know which is correct. Is it L or R? I see Lubaga, I see Rubaga. I assume they are the same place being called differently. Bugembe, Kakira, Kagoma, and Law Development Center courts. Then enhance engagements of stakeholders, public engagement. This is very important. As Chief Justice, let me tell you something. Many times and always, I receive report. I've also done a bad practice. I want to listen to everybody, so there's always a long line wanting to come and see me. And if I want to do some serious work, I have to escape from office and hide somewhere to do some serious judicial work. You receive complaints against judicial officer. A big chunk of this complaint is just failure to understand judicial work, failure to understand the role of a judicial officer. You receive complaints. It's only once in a while when I call a judicial officer and say, look, what is this? Many times you look at it and you know that poor litigants. Then you have to go through and explain that this judicial officer, and it is always magistrates, is not at fault from what you're telling me. And they want to hear from the Chief Justice. You send them to somebody else, they're not contented. So we thought that we should have these public engagements and we should do a lot more through these radios, FM radios and what have you, to let our people understand the workings of court. Also to listen from them, how they think we can better serve the justice seekers. So we had a national court open days. We have been having court open days in various places, but the national one was held in April this year, this calendar year, at Kololo Independence Grounds. And the theme was a people-centered approach to justice. The event attracted hundreds of court users and several justice actors, including the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Ministry of Justice, Judicial Service Commission, Uganda Police Force, Uganda Prison Service, Law Development Center, Uganda Law Reform Commission, Tax Appeal Tribunal, among others. This open day served as a platform for engagement between the judiciary, the court users, and the public, reaffirming the judiciary's commitment to accountability, stakeholder engagement, and service improvement. Strengthening international engagements. Uganda has solidly participated in international fora, international engagement, made friends, kept partners, solidified relationship with partners, because we cannot go it alone. This is both within the region and internationally. The Chief Justice of Uganda led a judiciary delegation on a benchmarking visit of e-courts in California, United States. So when we advocate for ECMIS, you need to see where the world is. You need to see how some of these things help to expedite the delivery of justice. The team was hosted by Pepperdine University, The team was privileged to visit a number of courts, both federal and national courts, and attended live sessions before interfacing with judicial officers, prosecutors, and technical staff for one-on-one discussion. The judiciary was also privileged to host the East African Magistrates and Judges Conference, 4th to 8 December 2023, here at Munyonyo. The conference brought together judges, magistrates from the rest of East African Community member states to share ideas on contemporary issues in justice delivery and best practices. The judiciary, in conjunction with the Pepperdine University of the USA, hosted the Africa Chief Justices Summit on Alternative Dispute Resolution, which I spoke of earlier, in March this year. This was the first ADR summit on the African continent, and Uganda was blessed with the personal presence of 10 Chief Justices and 6 representatives of various judiciaries across Africa. The summit resolved that the Chief Justices would take lead in ADR reforms in their respective jurisdictions, support ADR in domestic dispute resolution, standardize ADR practices, advocate for more resources for ADR, and hold regular ADR review summits, among others. Uganda offered, and this has been affirmed by member states, to offer the Secretariat for this African Chief Justices Forum on ADR in the judiciary of Uganda here. This is a bonus for us because Uganda has taken the lead on ADR. It is the one rallying the African continent to pursue ADR, and I think this is a good thing. It's a good name for Uganda, and it exalts the name of the Ugandan judiciary on the continent and beyond. We, as the judiciary of Uganda, have greatly benefited from our partnership with the Pepperdine University, especially in the promotion of ADR, both in the criminal and the civil regime. The university recently trained 11 judiciary jailers officers who graduated with a master's degree in dispute resolution and a certificate in international commercial arbitration. The Chief Justice of Uganda is immediate follower, the Deputy Chief Justice, other judicial officers, and other members of the justice, law, and order sector graduated here on the compound of the Twin Towers. Presently, the university is training African Chief Justices in the mechanics of ADR in dispute resolution under the auspices of the Chief Justice of Uganda. This is being done, the training of African Chief Justices was a request to Pepperdine by the Chief Justice of Uganda. I believe you know who the Chief Justice of Uganda is. I was surprised why you don't want to clap for him. So, the challenges we have encountered. While the judiciary budget has been increased to the figure I've given you, 400 and something, over the past 3 years, we still need more resources. We had agreed with the chief executive that the judiciary budget should be at par with that of parliament. That of parliament at that time was 800, and we agreed in 3 years the judiciary budget should go to 800. If this were to happen, or if this is to happen when I retire in 1 year and 3/4 months, 1 year and a quarter of a year's time, the next Chief Justice, if this is achieved, should be able to say, I don't want to hear about case backlog beyond 1 year. if a case takes more than 1 year, you're in problem. Case backlog starts with 1 year delay, more than 1 year delay. 1 year, 1 day, case is backlog. And hopefully we would go the Namibia way. It would be very nice if a judicial officer would know 6 months. US is now a backlog in 6 months. Because the number of files you're handling is so few that you have no justification. I mean, you cannot hide behind any excuse. That would really be, and it is all in the budgeting. Hopefully before I retire, I hope to fight with my PS so that before I retire, I take the judiciary budget beyond 500 billion. And then the fight can continue after that. Inadequate, these are challenges, inadequate or worn-out court infrastructure. Whereas we now boast of a new home for the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, most of the court buildings across the country are not only old, but also small and inadequate to match the staff and court user space needs. Very crucial courts are operating from rented premises, including some high court circuits and divisions. Rented premises cost the judiciary approximately 11 billion shillings per annum. These resources would do a lot if we had our homes, if we had our properties. We would be using them for maintenance and repair work. We also lack institutional houses to cater for staff accommodation, especially in the following districts, which are hard to reach and hard to stay, such as Kalangala, Buvuma, Highland, Bulisa, Buyende, Abim, Karenga, Napak, Bukwo, Nakapirit, Moyo, and Buweju. I think you left out, whoever prepared this, you left out this place in the mountains where there's always landslide. What is it called? Bududa. You left out Bududa. So in the record, one should insert Bududa. Yeah. These are really difficult places, hard to reach. Understaffing in the courts of law. We have had limited manpower across the various cadre and across all court levels. I gave you the numbers. And I asked you to work out the ratio to the population. This has hindered performance and contributed to case backlog. We worked tooth and nail to have the judiciary staff structure reviewed and enhanced. Cabinet approved the expansion of the judiciary structure up to 1,155 judicial staff instead of 600 we have now, and then 5,963, so 36 non-judicial staff respectively. We are now looking for resources to implement the approved structure. Low wages for administrative and support staff. While the salaries of judicial officers, the armed forces and scientists were enhanced to reasonable levels, the administrative and support staff of the judiciary still grapple with very little pay, which affects their day-to-day livelihood and negatively impacts on their morale and output. Inadequacies among key justice agencies. The other justice service agencies such as the ODPP, the Uganda Police Force, the Judicial Service Commission, and the Office of the Attorney General, among others, continue to suffer gross human resource deficiencies and lack sufficient tools for their workforce. Of course, all this impacts on the delivery of justice by the courts of law. So even when you talk about delay, of course the IACs, the person who is ultimately delivering the justice, not knowing that if there is a weakness in the office of the DPP, Attorney General's Chambers, investigating wing of the police force, you will not be able to see. You will only see in the performance of the court. and we will be condemned to bear that blame alone. Many of the magistrates' courts that were recently operationalized have reported delays in case hearings due to lack of state attorneys. A number of courts share prosecutors, while others receive weekly visits by prosecutors who are stationed at other court stations elsewhere. This has inevitably escalated delays and has frustrated justice service delivery and made it difficult to banish case backlog at the desired pace. Priorities for this financial year which we have entered, 2024-2025. Recruitment of more judicial officers. Our plan is to recruit more justices, judges, and magistrates to address delays in concluding cases, which remains one of the main impediments to access to justice. We plan to recruit 5 additional justices of the Court of Appeal. We plan to recruit 10 High Court judges and replace 4 who have left us. Then to recruit 12 chief magistrates and 28 magistrates grade 1. And then we conduct more backlog reduction sessions at all court levels. We should allocate more resources to conduct backlog reduction sessions, criminal, civil, family, and land in various high court circuits and magistrates' courts. Enhancement of the civil jurisdiction of magistrates' courts. We are currently working on process of amending the Magistrate Courts Act to enhance the civil jurisdiction of magistrates' courts so that they are empowered to handle disputes of an enhanced value consistent with the current economic trends and in inflationary levels in the country. Promotion of the alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. I've explained this, I cannot add, but it is central to our pursuit this financial year and in the years to come. Same with plea bargaining, we plan to hold more of this in the criminal division, in all high court circuits, and selected chief magistrates courts, and to roll out small claims procedure to 36 more magistrates courts. Construction of courts. We're upgrading court facilities, constructing new court buildings, and improving the physical infrastructure to create a conducive environment. Accordingly, we plan to complete the following ongoing constructions: Soroti, Tororo, and Rukungiri High Court buildings, Aleptong, Liantonde Chief Magistrates Court buildings, Abim and Karenga Magistrate 1 Court buildings. We also plan to start the construction, funds permitting, of 2 Court of Appeal circuits, Gulu and Mbarara. Gulu will serve the Greater North, Mbarara will serve the Greater West. Hoima, Mpiji, and Mukono Annex High Court buildings, Amolata, Nyarushanje, Katine, and Bubulo Rakai Chief Magistrates Courts, Busembatia, Nyarushanje, Rubuguri, and Adware Magistrate Grade 1 Courts. Institutional houses at Moyo, Karenga, Bukwo, Rubuguri, and Buwejo to accommodate judicial officers and staff in hard-to-reach places. These hard-to-reach places, unless we act in a proactive manner, you can send personnel there and it's a punishment. People should not serve as a form of punishment. People should, even when there are difficulties, at least something should be done to minimize those difficulties. So for those hard-to-reach places, it is only fair that we provide accommodation for the judicial officers who find themselves in those places. In conclusion, it is evident that the judiciary has come a long way on its path to improve justice service delivery on the land. For instance, complaints of missing case files have reduced, case backlog is receding, distances to courthouses are now abridged, access to courts by persons with disabilities is now possible in many courts, and incidents of corruption and negative public perceptions have drastically gone down. Funds permitting, we shall have a judiciary that delivers to the satisfaction of our people. I call upon all of us to reflect on our achievements, acknowledge areas of improvement, and renew our commitment to serving the people with integrity. Let us embrace the opportunities presented to us and continue to adapt to the evolving needs of our people. Let me extend my appreciation to the judiciary stakeholders, including the executive and the legislative arms of government, the legal fraternity, the administration of justice program institutions, development partners, civil society organizations, the academia and the media for your steadfast support and collaboration. Together, we shall continue to achieve meaningful access to justice for our people. I further convey my gratitude to the leadership of the judiciary, which I am privileged to head, and the Judiciary Council for your support and cooperation throughout the financial year. I've said this before, we are able to make these strides. The little that we've been able to make as our contribution to the judiciary of this country because of a powerful, cohesive team, which I have the benefit of working with, my Deputy Chief Justice, the Principal Judge, the Permanent Secretary, the Chief Registrar. These are the top leadership of the judiciary. We have worked as a team. We've been able to achieve the little that we have done because of our capacity to work as a cohesive team. I really want to thank them. I also want to thank my colleagues, judicial officers of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, the judges of the High Court, the registrars, the magistrates, and also heads of our various departments in the judiciary. Again, it is because we understand our purpose, we understand our mission together that we have been able to do the little we have done, and we can do more if we are facilitated. I know we can do more, but let me thank every one of you for whatever efforts you made, which I've recognized, to ensure that our people get meaningful access to justice. Finally, I thank you all who have joined us today to celebrate this worthwhile milestone. May the good Lord bless you abundantly. Thank you.
Let us give the Honorable, the Chief Justice, another big round of applause. My Lord Chief Justice, thank you, and thank you very much for taking us through the journey of the judiciary for the last financial year. The highlights of the report have been presented to us very, very well by the Honorable, the Chief Justice. We now proceed to have the launch. PRO, I request you to move the launch copy, so that we can have the Honorable, the Chief Justice sign it, and a couple of other key stakeholders sign. That will be marking the launch of this report. So let us get all the necessary tools that we need. So, my Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Justice, we request you to come with the Honorable Principal Judge. Lord Justice Kiriabwire, please, we request that you come since you're the court administrator for the Court of Appeal. We want every court to touch that report after the Honorable Chief Justice has cut. Let us clap as he cuts. That is marking the launch of the report for the financial year 2023-24. My Lord, you proceed to sign. Is it showing?
Put it under blue.
Congratulations and thank you very much, my Lord. We have the Honorable, the Principal Judge. As Justice Kirabwire comes, Dr. P.S., Secretary to the Judiciary. The Solicitor General will also be signing. Thank you so much, my Lord. The PS there signs. Then we have the Solicitor General. We will then have our development partners. IDLO, UNDP, UNICEF. I would request that you would come together as our partners who have supported us and you sign. Let us give a special round of applause to our development partners. National Planning Authority, please prepare. Prisons, we don't want to miss armed forces. On behalf of police and the prisons that we work with very closely, please prepare to come and sign. Law Society, you are our key stakeholders. The newest converts to ADR supporting mediation 100%. Please come, Vice President. Uganda Prison Services, on behalf of police and all those other stakeholders we work with. Law Society. IGG, you will be representing all the prosecutors. Mr. Nsoboga, Member of Judiciary Council, on behalf of the public. That is Mr. Nsoboga. On behalf of the public, the Judiciary Council has 2 members who represent the public, and one of them is Mr. Herbert Nsoboga. And lastly, the lower bench, the foot soldiers, I will represent them as PRO. You come and take over.
Thank you very much for representing the lower bench. Thank you very much, Chief Registrar, for taking us through this. Thank you very much, my Lord Chief Justice and my Lord Principal Judge. We are moving on to the last segment, which will be a photo session, my Lord. Let us So I request that we rise up for the anthems. Thank you very much. My Lord, with your permission, we will come and take the seat with the Honorable the Principal Judge, to be joined by the 3 Justices of the Supreme Court, the Permanent Secretary, the Chief Registrar, and the 2 representatives from the Office of the Attorney General. You will join us seated, and the first photo session or moment will be the Justices of the Court of Appeal and the judges of the High Court present. Yes. Yes, please. Yes. PS and the CR. Okay. I can stand behind. There is another seat there. Thank you. May I invite the justices of the Court of Appeal and the judges present of the High Court for the first session. next session will be development partners and also our heads of the Administration of Justice program present. Thank you, my lords. May we have the heads of the justice program present, including National Planning Authority, LDC, Law Council, prisons, tax appeals, governance, peace and security. We come and take the next IGG and Mr. Nsubuga, Judiciary Council. Development partners, please. We are going to have one picture. Okay. Extend the other side. Mr. Chivumbi is lonely. And the next will be the registrars and the heads of departments present. Thank you very much. So registrars and heads of departments, Judiciary, please come for the third photo. So thank you very much. My lords, I wish to release you from the photo sessions. We are having lunch. The Honorable the Chief Justice is inviting all of us for lunch. And the lunch is right on my left. So please, let us enjoy a wonderful lunch. So it is both level 7 and level 6 down. You are such a wonderful guests. Thank you very much. And we believe that the Lord has already blessed our meal. Please partake of it for His goodness and for the service of humanity. Thank you very much.